Hi everyone, I'm Jay. I'm going to be moderating the panel for today, and it is the rise of the Blerd in the nerd community. I have an awesome set of people with me, and we're going to go through introductions, but a little bit about myself. I'm a cosplayer and a gamer from South Florida, and I'm one of the co-founders of Urban Anime Lounge, which is a social community. So I'm going to introduce my panelists, or have them introduce themselves. Kendra?
Hey everyone, my name is Kendra. I'm also a cosplayer and a gamer, but I'm from Virginia.
Thank you, Kendra. Briana?
Hi, I'm Briana. I'm from the Bronx. I'm a heavy gamer, and I am also a part of Urban Anime Lounge.
Kimmy? Or Kim?
Yo, it's Kem, aka Fat Star, aka Team PC Master Race, anime elitist, headphone enthusiast, subwoofer fanboy, and all-around resident geek. And I'm also from the Bronx, and an admin of Urban Anime Lounge.
All right, and Trish?
Hi everybody, I'm Trish. I'm also a co-founder of Urban Anime Lounge. I am a amateur special effects makeup artist, more on the gore, scary side of things. And I'm a gamer on hiatus, so.
And then last, but certainly not least, we have Ro.
What's up, people? This is Ro, or Rashadrick, or the meme god, whatever you want to go by. But I specialize in memes, and I do graphic design and a lot of other mediums. And I'm also a co-founder of Urban Anime Lounge.
Awesome. So thank you guys for being here with us today. As I mentioned, the panel is called The Rise of the Blerd in the Nerd Community. So we're going to be diving in with a few different perspectives from everyone on the panel, discussing a couple things within the community, past, present, and future, and we'll go ahead and get started. So first, I want to kind of kick it off with asking everyone on the panel to tell us how you were introduced to the community. So it doesn't have to be the online social community. It could be how you were introduced to your alternative interests, whether it was anime, manga, cosplay, gaming, etc. And we're gonna start with Briana.
Hey, so growing up, my brother actually used to watch anime. He would watch Dragon Ball Z, Bleach, Gundam Wing. So I would watch a couple of things with him. As an adult, I came across a video with BuzzFeed, actually, where they had some of their workers watching 2 different animes. So I was like, let me see what they're watching. So the first anime that they watched with no descriptions at all. It was Kill La Kill and Attack on Titan. So I was like, these look interesting. I should watch these things. So 20-something-year-old me decided to start watching on Netflix, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. This is like what I used to watch when I was younger. Oh, snap, this anime, like the anime still happening. That's cool. So I watched both, fell in love, disappointed that Kill La Kill didn't get another season, but then it was like, oh, okay, so I'm back in my scene now. And then I started watching more things, and then I got put into UAL, and then here I am now.
Oh, and that's a hell of a anime. Attack on Titan and Kill la Kill for the first few. That's that's something right there, because that's a little extreme on the extreme side of the anime side. But Ro, you want to go ahead?
I actually started like pre-Toonami days, so it was my granddad used to make these VHS tapes. It was like mixtapes of different shows and cartoons and shit. And it had like a whole bunch of different shows, but one of the shows was the original Dragon Ball, not DBZ. So I didn't start off with Z, but I did start off with the first few episodes, Dragon Ball, and another show called Tranzor Z, which is actually Mazinger. That's the actual name, but it was like the English dub back in the day. And Astro Boy, and I saw like Gigantor, but it was garbage. Anyway, I'm no disrespect to the original anime, no disrespect, but I did watch it. But yeah, that was like my introduction, and then Toonami, and we went on from there.
Oh, nice. Trish, you want to go next?
Sure. So I feel like my transition kind of happened just from the gaming side of things. Like I've been, I said I'm gamer on hiatus now, but like that was my entire life. So starting back Super Nintendo, PlayStation and stuff, it just kind of transitioned over. So it's like I don't remember the piece. However, I don't feel like I used to watch it on Toonami and things of that nature, but Blockbuster. Okay, let me one time for the GOAT. Blockbuster had an anime section. So I used to live in there every day. We used to walk down there and go to the thing, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I started like with Ninja Scroll, and then they had all the DVD, or I think it was just at the DVD. Whoa, hold on, not at the VHS part, but so Berserk, they had all the DVDs there, and Vampire Hunter D. So those were like my really big transitions, and then Berserk is my all-time favorite, and so I just kept watching from there, and I would just go and rent the movies and bring them back home, and that was my transition into anime. So I'm on the horror side of things of anime.
I will leave that all to you. All right. I ain't touching the horror side of nothing. Kendra, how about you?
As far as anime and gaming wise, it's always kind of been there when I was a kid. Me and my cousins, we would always watch Sailor Moon together. We was always fighting over which scout was who. I'm like, y'all can have Usagi, even though I wanted her, but I'm gonna just stick with Sailor Jupiter for the time being. But over time, I kind of adjusted more to Sailor Mars. You know, she kind of fit my personality in a sense. As far as gaming, I would always sneak into my older cousin's room playing Tekken on his PlayStation. Like that was the one like franchise that really drew me into gaming. But as far as like cosplay wise, I didn't start cosplaying until like 2017. One of my old coworkers was like, you know, oh my gosh, you're into anime too. You should come with me to like this con. I'm like, okay. So I saw everybody else, you know, dressing up, talking about cosplay ideas. And I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna just dive into this. And my first cosplay was Michiko from Michiko and Hatchin. So that's how I kind of got my start into everything.
That's a fire star. I love her. That whole series. It's one of those rewatchable series too. But that's good. Kim?
So I got into it, well, I got my first computer when I was like 5. It was a family computer. And then I got on the internet like at 6 or 7. And so I started gaming and stuff.
You was on the internet at 6 years old?
Yeah.
Okay.
But the internet back then, it was just like gray and just like text and like boxes of like anime pictures and shit. So it was just like, I didn't know what I was doing, but like as I grew like older and stuff, we learned about computers in school. So then Toonami was coming on, and then we had Dragon Ball Z. So that's where I started like searching that shit up like on my computer. And I started seeing like Super Saiyan 5 and all that other nonsense. And then like I got into anime heavy was probably when my cousin Mike like gave me Dragon Ball Z tapes with like Super Saiyan 3 Goku on it. But like the Goku that we had just like learned Kaioken, so like I was visibly confused. So then from there I saw Dragon Quest, like the game, so I thought it was related as a kid. So I was just playing Dragon Quest, and like I'm like, he looks like he's from Dragon Ball Z, but he's not from Dragon Ball Z. So I didn't get that like I didn't get the correlation of things at the time because I was just a kid. And then I think I fully got into the anime community when I was in like middle school. My art teacher, he used to like give us out like VHS tapes with anime series. And then like I think the first series I had was like Blood the Last Vampire or some shit. And that fucking shit scared the shit out of me. Like, oh my God. Like a little 11, 10-year-old watching this anime like Blood the Last, I don't remember, Blood the Last Vampire or something like that. And it just like scarred me. And then from there, I just like kept borrowing VHS tapes from my art teacher, and then like got into downloading anime, and then that's where I like fully got into it.
You was brave on the internet. I was only on I had Napster. Is that the download where you download the music? Yep. I had Napster and I watched Sailor Moon on TV. Yeah, LimeWire. That's the LimeWire and Napster. And I was in AOL chat rooms. I didn't know what was going on. Internet used to be a weird thing, man.
Oh, I forgot about the chat rooms. Yeah, you just reminded me.
Oh yeah, I used
Yeah.
to go crazy in the
Like
chat.
ASL, people was really just out here asking, like ASL.
Oh my God.
I was really replying back to grown-ups on the internet.
Kim. Yeah,
that's really what it was. It was like we was talking to adults, and like it wasn't weird. Like that was normal because the internet was such like a new thing. So
can I just add one little internet related manga story? So before we had manga, you know how on the apps you get to read it for free. I literally somehow found my way to eBay from AOL and got burned CD discs of Berserk manga scans. I swear I was the first one in the world to have this stuff. So somebody sent it to me in mail, and I put it on my computer, and I'm reading all the scans because, you know, Berserk ended, and I had to know what it was. So this was like before the evolution where we are now. So not to share any type of age, but I don't know how I bought them. I think I went to the parents, you know, I don't know. But I got
dangerous times.
Dangerous times.
It was dangerous out here.
I won that auction.
Like anime pictures on disc and shit.
Yeah, it was literally on CDs, and then all the little manga scans, and I was lit. This was after buying the first 13 volumes. I was like, oh, this is way cheaper. It's like $10 for all the rest of the chapters. It was crazy.
I used to sell Bleach like that. I used to put it on
Kimmy probably sold it to you.
You probably did. I don't remember where it came from.
You're a supplier. Kimmy sold it to you.
I don't remember where it came from.
Not manga.
I don't know if I had permission to order. I don't know what happened, but I got the scans.
I didn't tell you about my middle school operation on this.
Yeah.
I'm not even surprised, bro. That brings us actually to our next question. What challenges and changes, which clearly we kind of covered some of the changes. We talked about a lot of stuff that was in the past, but what challenges and changes have you seen in this space over the past decade or so? And we're gonna start with Ro, hustling CDs in middle school.
Right. It did start off with like hustling a certain kind of CD in middle school and printouts and stuff like that. But I don't know, like I saw it like develop because like Kimmy said earlier, right? Like with Dragon Ball, the show came out in the 80s and early 90s. So while you watching like the new stuff, like old, like the episodes that you haven't seen yet, and sub hasn't came out yet. So I had like a VHS I got from like a flea market with Dragon Ball GT. Meanwhile, it's like early Dragon Ball Z. So I'm like, why these niggas look like monkeys? And, you know, seeing all this stuff anyway, but over the past few years, right, the last 10-year time span, I just seen the culture embrace it a lot more than how it was when it first started. It was just, I don't know, I never felt like singled out as far as doing it because I just always had it front and center for what I do. So, but I have seen it like integrate into the culture a lot more, right? Like, music, movies, and you know, now it's to the point where it's just like everywhere. You know what I mean? So
it's become more normalized.
And
accessible.
Not like a cartoon, like, oh, y'all watch cartoons? Like, no. You know, it's mature content, it's all type of content on there. So I don't know, it just had a good progression from back then to now. It's just I just think it's super dope.
That's true.
I feel like it definitely has become more accessible because back then, if you didn't catch it on Toonami, it was like, where am I watching this? So now it's on Netflix, it's on Hulu, it's literally everywhere. Right. So it's just so many platforms for you to watch anime, for you to read manga. There's so many places now for you to pick up these things if you don't have Netflix, if you don't have Hulu and stuff like that. So definitely it has become a lot more accessible than it was in like the early 90s.
Yeah. No more buy and burn CDs from strangers on the internet. We can just go on Crunchyroll or Funimation. We don't gotta live like that no more, Trish. We
do it right nowadays.
Right.
honestly,
I gotta watch episodes and parts on YouTube. And like,
Right.
yes, I remember those. Like, I think that's how I was able to watch Michiko and Hatchin, because I was like talking to this one dude I was carpooling with, and we were like getting in a conversation. He was like, "Oh, you should watch Michiko and Hatchin." Well, I was kind of broke at the time, so I didn't have Funimation. I didn't have any of these streaming services. So when I was on my lunch break, I would just be going on YouTube and like Michiko and Hatchin, episode 1, part 1, part 2. I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna just have to work with this for now. But you know, being that we're more so in the digital age, technology is forever evolving. You know, you have, like Briana said, you have these streaming services at your disposal to watch these shows. You know, so I think that's pretty dope.
Definitely agree on that. The YouTube is lit. Now they don't change it to those little boxes, like, because of copyright issues.
Oh yeah, they snatch that stuff quick.
But I wanted to add that, like, within the space itself, and I don't know everybody else's experience, but I didn't have the experience of, you know, the being bullied and everything, like, you a lame because you like this stuff. But I will say that I was the only one out of my friends, so outside of my best friend that I game with, nobody watched anime on my end of things. So now that the internet has created these, or people on the internet have created these spaces that we can actually come together, because honestly, 4 years ago, before, like, as UAO became created, I didn't know anybody else like me that was watching anime or doing things like that. So that was like a huge major thing. I'm like, oh, there's Facebook groups about this, like Black people watching anime. So that was literally a moment for me, like, oh, there's more people like me. And I mean, that was one of the biggest changes I've seen, that we actually have spaces where we can come together and just talk about all this stuff.
And talk about other things, right? Like, anime might bring y'all together, but like y'all have all this other stuff in common too. So that's definitely been valuable for sure. Kim?
So like my experience is like I was always locked in because I was just on the internet. So I had like my ways to get stuff, and I had like little circles where like we shared shit. But like my circles, like I didn't know who they were. Like these were like people I just knew online from playing like MMORPGs and video games and stuff online. So like that's the circles I came from. So I didn't know like regular like Black kids besides like my art teacher and kids in class who like fuck the anime. And so like coming up, all the spaces I was in, it was just like they were like faceless communities, but you could tell like they weren't Black, I guess like you could say. So it's a bunch of like white people and like chilling in those areas of the net that you shouldn't be in. So it's like coming from there, like I thought all that shit was normal, so I didn't think about Black spaces till one of my guildmates forced me to make a Facebook, and then I joined one of the early anime communities, like specifically for Black people, and that's when I was like, oh shit, like there's people like me who like anime, and this was like back in 07, 08. So like the change of the community from then to now is just like see more people that had the same background as you, but they didn't have a place to express that until like then. Like if you weren't going to cons, and even when you were going to cons, like the people that you saw at cons, they weren't like you. Like if you saw 15 people, you might see 2 to 3 Black people at the cons. And then those Black people were like usually whitewashed or yeah, they usually were just whitewashed. not to say it like that, but they usually like they were just like taken over and consumed by like where they've been at. So it's like they emanated a lot of the like white people that they were around. So you didn't really see Black people, like regular Black people, like not like say we're us, like we're regular, but like you didn't see like typical Black people that you seen in the hood. Like you didn't see that in the community until like maybe like the last 7 years. That's for me what I observed.
I think that kind of leads us into the next thing, because we kind of mentioned that anime has become more mainstream, but how do you guys feel about that as far as the increased social media presence, especially from celebrities as well? So Megan Thee Stallion, Michael B. Jordan, I think Lupe Fiasco. I'm pretty sure Lupe was in the anime. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but you said what?
He's like one of the beginners as far as bringing it into the culture of hip hop.
And that's where, Kendra, did you have thoughts on that part?
I think it's dope, honestly. I think it's always a great opportunity to, introduce people, into the nerd community if they feel as though they're kind of holding on to it, based off embarrassment or what have you. But like you said, you have celebrities like Michael B. Jordan, who's into Naruto. You have Megan Thee Stallion, more specifically, who's, pretty much into My Hero and a whole bunch of other stuff. You have her cosplaying, which I thought was really dope. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's literally on the cover of Paper Magazine cosplaying as Todoroki. Like, I was shook. I was so shook. And I just thought that was like an amazing thing to see, especially me as a nerdy Black woman, you know what I mean? It's really good to see people at the forefront, expressing themselves outwardly, being their inner nerd outwardly and stuff like that. So I just think it's an amazing opportunity for the Black community, or the Black nerd community, to fully embrace themselves. So
I'm kind of in between. And why I say this is, with it being mainstream, yes, definitely what Kendra said about everything is, and it's necessary. It's super necessary, especially when you have the celebrities showing this, because it's like, oh, okay, now it's cool, or whatever the case may be. But then I'm like, but y'all, everybody wasn't shooting in the gym with us, and when we had to go through it, But then I'm like, but it's necessary. It really is necessary, because it only creates more opportunities. And I think Kendra really touched on it, like being able to just bring that outward. Because even if you're starting to see celebrities and, that on TV and it's everywhere, you hear it in music, even if your friend's still not doing it, it's like, oh, okay, look. But then I have like friends like mine who they always like, oh, Trish, you weird because you like this. And, I never care, because I'd be like, look, you weird. For not liking it, number one. And then number two, now look at you, because they are like, oh, what's up with, this anime? And I'm like, you need to go ahead and watch these 5 first before we can talk about this. Because y'all been talking about this, like clowning me for a long time now. So, but here y'all are, because it's cool. And I'm sure that could be peace with a lot of people, but that's kind of my experience where I'm like, but then I'm happy about it, because it has to be a thing. It is a thing.
Yeah.
Well, for me, I love it. Me and my family have actually gotten into watching anime. Like my sisters, we all watched different things. My brother, who probably was like the only person that I knew that was watching anime, in the 90s. We all watch something different. We all talk about it. It's like, oh, did you catch this? Nah, but did you catch this? Like, it's just, I feel like it brings people together. It really does bring people together, because it's like, oh, you watched that? Oh, wait, I watched that back in such and such and so-and-so. What you think about it? Like, it's a conversation starter as well. So I love it. I love that it's mainstream. Everybody can watch it. Your friends can watch it. Your family can watch it. Your mom can watch it. And it just brings people together.
Ro, did you have any thoughts?
Yeah, see, with me, it's kind of like, since I just always wore it on me for the most part, like, and I was like, I've been around like a lot of urban shit, and just surprisingly, like, since I always had it in my forefront, a lot of them were always into it. Like my cousins, we used to draw Dragon Ball like all day, made our own characters, drew fanfic. You know what I mean? I used to draw in school, actually, so people used to sit there and watch me draw in my comic books and stuff like that. So it's just always, to me, it's just like always been like a thing, you know what I mean? So it wasn't surprising when it started taking over, and I fuck with it. I don't mind it at all.
We're just reminding me that I used to write fanfic
I did.
of Sailor Moon. I used to write Sailor Moon fanfic when I was in elementary school. Like,
Girl, I wrote it for boy bands. I don't know what I was doing.
for boy bands? I don't think I ever heard of no fanfic for boy bands.
I don't know if it's a thing, and I shouldn't have ever have brought that.
The MC or
Expose
Backstreet?
yourself.
Let's edit that out.
No.
No. Nah, it's staying.
Absolutely not.
So after this panel, everyone's gonna get an email along with Trisha's finest boy band fanfic work. So we're gonna dig that. We're gonna dig that up from the archives, and we're gonna spread it to.
Listen, and I'm gonna own it because it was for NSYNC, and my stuff is it. Okay, JC, let me say less.
Kim, did you have anything to add?
Y'all mad jolly and shit with it, so I'm gonna get some baby powder and rub up the ash real quick. So
Kim, I kind of was there with you.
yeah, I'm gonna say I 75% hate it and 25% love it. I'm on like what Trish said, niggas wasn't shooting with us in the gym, so it's just like I like as an anime like fan and video game fan, like them companies didn't fucking love us. They treated us like shit for mad fucking long. They punished us anytime niggas was pirating shit. They was stealing, not like that, but like they reprimanded people. They put people in jail. They clapped them up. They made examples of them. And then all of a sudden now it's okay. It's popular. They flipped the switch and it's like, oh, everything's okay. And then they're like, we're going to cater to you now because we see that this is a neglected market. And I'm like, yo, there's people like that that went through a lot of shit because you guys are just like, I see where they're going with it now, so like I can accept it. But like in terms of like mainstream and getting up there, I like the after effects that come from it. So like the fact that we don't have to pirate content so much and that we can get it like on Netflix or Hulu or Funimation or Crunchyroll or one of those easily accessible platforms, and you can just see it and you don't have to go through all the hoops and everything. And I like that they're letting the underground piracy community still live for now. So like they don't come for the fan dub scenes and like the fan subs and the people that translate scans and things like that. I think they're coming to a balance where like they understand that you can't have one without the other because they generate hype off each other. So once they get to that mainstream adoption where they understand that you need both parts, that's when I think I could accept where it's going. And as far as like mainstream adoption by like celebs and stuff, like I feel like you gotta go shoot in the gym, man. You can't just jump into the anime community and then like you're like, oh, I'm the #1 anime fan. Like, nah.
But who's saying they're the #1 anime fan?
I'm not saying they
don't know.
That's how I like interpret it. Like that's like what.
But don't y'all think that's like the fan base that kind of hypes people up? If Beyonce just said, yo, I watched JoJo the other day, you don't think people would be like, the fans themselves would be the ones who hype it up more than the person who's actually doing it?
I think that's how I feel
because we've been so underrepresented that when there's someone with such visibility who does something that we do and we're like, yo, that's awesome. And my I don't want to say my criticism, but I think more of that comes from the fans that hype the people up, because I don't remember not one celebrity ever saying that they was the #1 anything. But I love your take on the corporation side, because like I kind of thought of it, but when I think of more mainstream, my immediate thought goes to the fan base and not from the corporations. So that's super interesting. Go ahead, Trish.
I want to add to that because it's just a hard take, because what I'm getting from Kim is like the ones jumping on, okay, yeah, the fans might hype it up more, but then you have the people that like, I mean, I don't know who's who the real anime fan. I don't want to even put it like that because then we start going to different. But is everybody for real? I don't know. Like that's the thing. You don't really know, but I think that's the biggest piece of that is because it's more mainstream and because it's more accessible and because it's more popular now, you're going to have newer people getting into it, and that's okay. Like it becomes that point where it's like how Briana said, my mom is interested now, you know, family members, like that's cool because you get a chance to start watching it, or whether it's comics or anything like that, like you have to have your entry, you know what I'm saying? Like it has to be an entry point where it's okay for you to enter into it and start really learning about it. So it becomes that area where it's like, well, we don't want no new people watching it. Is you real? Da, 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 da. And then it's like, oh, that's cool. Come, we're here. Like you have found us. So I don't know. I still be on the fence though, because I'm gonna be like, I'm a little toxic when it comes to that. So I'll get to that a little later. But you know, I don't know.
You already know on that one. I don't want to say I'm king toxic. I don't want to say I'm king toxic, but it's just like don't pick up like I'm gonna get fried for this.
Timmy said he wasn't burning CDs with me in '93.
Yeah,
he wasn't reading the scans on the CD, dog. Like you,
like don't watch one anime that's coming on TV and then like update your bio and be like #1 anime fan or like anime lover. I'm just gonna. I mean, some people want that, but I'm gonna be like, what? I'm gonna be like, what? You only seen 2 series and you an anime lover?
They gotta start somewhere. Kim, they gotta start somewhere. Because I would hate coming into. I'm a super casual closet cosplay. Like I dabble with the special effects of that, but I would hate to like join in there and be like, oh, but you wasn't cosplaying, you know, a long time ago. So again, I don't know if it's just more anime or like you have to let them in.
And we're gonna get to gatekeeping, and that's for sure. With not the king, but Prince Gatekeeper. I don't know what you want to call it. Prince Toxic, whatever you called yourself.
Girl,
I agree. Like you have to let people in, and I don't even think it's a matter of saying that we have to, because then that sounds like we have to grant people permission. But I think like give people room to be fans at whatever age. Like Briana said, she started back, I think, in her 20s, right? Is that what you said? She started back in her 20s. And I don't think, if somebody did say they was a #1 anime fan after one anime, I haven't seen that situation happen, so it sounds like an exaggeration. It sounds like an exaggeration to me. I haven't seen no one ever do that. So it's like, to me, that don't even sound like something somebody has done. However, to Trisha's point, when she said earlier where she had friends, and I had people who, my very first cosplay was Shishomaru, and it was in 2014, 2015, I think. I went to a convention in Florida, and I was so scared to post this to my Instagram, and I did, and all my people from college was like, what are you doing? And now they're like, yo, this is so cool. Yeah, like, look, they were like, what? Like, why do you have on this white wig? And like, what are you doing? They just didn't understand.
Just pointing at you.
Literally, anytime I'm on Instagram or something, they're sending me a post about anything anime because I'm the anime person that they know. So like, I can get both sides of it, because it's just like, dang, like I like that years ago. Y'all was calling me weird, but it's fine. It's whatever. It doesn't bother me to my core. But I think more from the corporation side, I agree with Kimmy. But y'all gotta let people watch the shows, man. Kim, let them update their My Anime list, whatever that site's called. They don't have as many hours as you, and that's okay. They can still be an anime fan. We gonna come back to gatekeeping, because I'm not gonna ask you how many hours you got, Kim, on your anime list. I
just want to like interject, like since like UAL, since we made it, I want to say that I've had growth. I don't know how to do the hand sign, but like there we go. But I've like learned to like let people live and like help guide them, like if they ask for like suggestions and stuff. That's the route I've been taking, like as a more senior member of like the community, just like help them grow. So it's like, as long as they aren't like stepping on a pedestal saying some head assery or some hot takes that are wrong, I've been letting people live and like go down their anime discovery journey. But like once they step out of line, it's, I don't know. You gotta tell them about themselves.
I think what you're saying speaks to the importance of these spaces, these Black curated spaces where we can just talk to one another. And because we didn't have it, and I think that's why some people are so protective of it, is because it wasn't a part of what some of us had growing up. But like you said, integrating yourself in these social spaces and circles, gives you new experiences and allows for growth. We're gonna move on to the next question. And we are kind of talking about this as we go, but what would you like to see in the future from the community? And Trish, we're gonna start with you.
So in the general nerd community, representation, period. Respect our melanin, okay? So that's for the general nerd community. And like, you know, we're starting to, and I hate to say this, we're starting to see it more, but like more is like, oh, two different things. Like Lovecraft Country, amazing, hits every possible genre, you know, the sci-fi, seeing us in sci-fi is already a whole new different conversation. But it's like, you get that and that's amazing, but it's still not enough, right? It's just not enough. So it's great that this is happening in the general nerd world. What I'll say for the Blerd community space, where do I want to start? I think it's just more of coming togetherness. So yes, we come together in a general space, but I think on a deeper level, we need to work together more.
So Bree, what about you? What would you like to see from the community or even for the community?
I really want to see physical spaces. I want to see a lot more spaces for us to go to, spaces for us to meet people in our area, spaces for us to buy stuff, spaces for us to hang out, listen to music, talk about anime in person. Like, I really would love to see a physical lounge in a couple of cities and see how that grows, because I think that would be such a dope concept. We buy a lot of our things online. We buy a lot of our things from other cultures. Let's start selling it ourselves.
Yes, thank you for that, Briana.
Trisha's eyes lit
I'm
up.
smiling.
You said physical space.
Yeah, I've been smiling because, yes, if patreon.com/urban anime lounge, as we, one of our tiers is actually to bring the lounge to you. That can go at the end, so, you know, but.
Kendra?
So this is more so geared towards what I want to see as far as the cosplay community. Of course, I want to see more so a lot more togetherness. You know, if you are a Black cosplayer and you have such a big following, it wouldn't necessarily hurt, you know, to representation to the smaller cosplayers, you know, with the smaller follower count. And also, I don't want to see a lot of performative representation because what I noticed, me specifically, I noticed this during the protests, during like the height of the George Floyd protest, where you had, you know, certain cosplayers, certain big name cosplayers, you know, non-people of color, they were like sharing Black cosplayers as a means to get brownie points to be woke. And I'm just like, you know, I see y'all. We all see y'all. You know, we all see through the bullshit. If y'all wasn't giving genuine ass representation, if y'all wasn't giving genuine support, why did it take for Black people getting killed in the streets for y'all to suddenly have this aha moment? You know what I mean? So I would rather y'all genuinely support us than to just use us as a prop, use us as the Black token cosplayer. You know, I want to see more genuine, authentic support from other cosplayers. So,
yeah, what you said is so valid, and there's a lot of performative people and companies, especially during this time. It's a weird year, man. It's a weird year, man.
Very weird.
I'm hoping December 31st brings us some joy, because 2020 has not been it. We're gonna move on to the last question before we get into a little bit of something else. Do you think there's levels to gatekeeping? Do you think all gatekeeping is the same? Like, what do you really think about? Because I mean, people throw the word around. A lot of words are thrown around. very loosely and very easily. So do you think there's some kind of levels to this, or is like all of it bad
I
or
think
necessary?
it's necessary because you need it to keep control of your community, because if you don't have, so I'm gonna go into it more, but if you don't have gatekeeping, then that any company that like puts money at it could just come in, claim the whole community, make the rules for the community, and since they have the mainstream platform and the most like views to them, they could define the whole genre, and the people that's in it won't have no say, and then like a person that comes from the outside of that day, they won't know like the true origins or anything. So because of gatekeeping, or that's what y'all want to call it, it it holds like a check on it, so that like frauds can't just come in, fake it, and come take over a community, because we've seen that happen time and time again. Like, no shade, but we see it happen in the cosplay community when y'all say everything is welcome and yada yada, and then someone comes in, they start doing some low effort stuff, and like they start getting shine over the people that are putting in all the hard work, and like, and then you see how that happens sometimes in those spaces, and it happens like once every year, or like a big blow up. So when it comes to gatekeeping, I like to say there's two parts to it. So there's the gatekeeping because you love it, and then there's the gatekeeping that I'm not for. That's like the gatekeeping to keep someone down, like just because you dislike them. So like when they be like gatekeeping women in like in the genre, I'm not for that type of gatekeeping. I feel like that's like, you got to get over yourself. But like, if you're gatekeeping for the love of it, like to keep the spirit and the heart and soul of the community like to where it's supposed to be, that's what I'm for. So like, for example, I don't even know. For example, I've been I've been through it so long, I don't even know.
No, I mean, I get what you're saying. A lot of where you're gatekeeping commentary is coming from is kind of like from a corporation standpoint and a company standpoint, where if, let's say, someone had marketing dollars and wanted to acquire a community so that they could push their marketing there, they don't really have a care about the community, about the people in the community, or their common interests. They're just using it as a marketing piece and probably dispose of it when they're done. So that's how I interpret kind of what you said, like a little piece of it. But I mean, I always think it's interesting that you bring up that point of view, because again, my mind always goes to the fan base and like the consumers rather than the people who are managing the access, I guess I'd say, to all of these things. But
yeah, like to add on to that, like for example, like I'm not like throwing no shade to like the old heads that's been here, but like our community, as in the Black Blerd space, or the Bleeker space, as Ro put it one time, is that like it's still fresh and new. Like, to be honest, I would say that collectively the space is 15 years old, and the Black online presence like space, like I'd say 15 or so years. That's how old it is. And so compared to like cosplay scenes where people been doing it since the 50s and 60s, and like the con communities that's been going on since the 80s and 70s, it's a relatively young space. So like the rules for our space every year grows. So what people did in 2014, you couldn't necessarily do in 2020, because we as a community grew from that experience, and new rules were set where like, we're like, yo, that's not it. That ain't it. So every year we grow a step higher in that regards, where like trying to gatekeep, like, for example, when the shit that you said earlier, when they said, oh, you're an anime fan, tell me about the 5 characters of the 5 best characters from Dragon Ball. And like at first it was like they went for it, and then like the year after it became frowned upon, and then the year after it became a meme. So now it's just like a running meme, like if you don't want to get clapped up, just don't do that dumb shit. and now it's evolved to where the women's side of the Black community and like the Blerd community, like they go, oh, you're such an anime fan, tell us about the strongest people in Sailor Moon, and it like throws all the guys for like like it just gets them out their loop. And like me, y'all played me because I really went out and I rewatched Sailor Moon with adult eyes, and I forced myself through that shit.
Oh my God.
So I can answer that question. So it's like it worked to level me up so I could now be a part of that. Like I passed that gate now. So we're now on that next level.
Can I
so like,
add to that, Kim, real quick? Look, I'm gonna take it to the next level. Look, if you don't watch anime, we not talking. Like a dude trying to talk to me, it's not my deal breaker. Okay, that's how far on my. If you're not watching anime, you don't got nothing to talk about, and that's real. And I always say that, everybody that knows me said this, but it's real life. Like that's on my level of where that has transferred out. Like no, this is gonna be a thing, or we not gonna be a thing. I don't know.
And I like that because now that mindset now going forward, like give or take 2024, you're gonna have a whole bunch of women like, yo, if you're really not watching anime, like I mean really watching anime, I can't fuck with you.
That's literally me in 2020 right now.
Kendra, did you have any thoughts?
I guess piggybacking off, gatekeeping in regards to like the dating scene. Me personally, like as long as you respect my love for anime and we don't have any issues, then that's totally fine. Like thankfully I don't have to go through that shit. But I would see certain people like online sharing their like Tinder messages and stuff like that, and motherfuckers be wilding, like, asking the most outrageous questions, and I'm just like, you just really about to fumble your way out of a date because you like asking all these like bogus ass questions, and I'm just like, this could have been like, I could have pulled shorty just by simply asking like, yo, what's your favorite anime, and just leave it at that. You asking like, oh, what's the mole on Naruto's butt cheek? Like, where's it look? I'm like, bro, you are really just talking your way out. And I'm just
they
like,
do it every day. Every day.
I'm like,
you
was just right there. You were right there. But yeah, I like in terms of gatekeeping in regards to the dating scene, I'm just like, y'all really gotta chill. Y'all gotta chill.
That's a fact. But keep it coming because at the same time, the memes are entertaining. Like,
yeah.
I be laughing. I be feeling bad, but I be laughing when I see that.
Themselves.
Briana, what you got?
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Briana.
Honestly, as far as the gatekeeping is concerned, I've had my own experience with it because once I started watching anime again as an adult, I found these spaces where it was like, oh, okay, they watch anime too. They're Black. So I'm like, let me share what I'm watching and things like that. And again, I had just started watching. So of course I'm not up on a lot of things. I caught up on a lot of things now, but at the time, I was watching the two that I was watching and that was it. So it's like, oh, you don't watch this? You've never seen that? Blah, blah, blah. Oh, you don't watch anime. And I'm like, but I literally put in my introduction, like, yo, I just started back. Like, I started on these two. I will gladly take recommendations. I have no problem with that. But you're not gonna turn me down from this community just because I just started. Like, it's annoying. And to piggyback off of what Trisha said, like, I can't do it. If you're not watching anime, we can't be a thing. I'm sorry. Like, that's just my thing. That's cool. We can watch different animes. You can watch stuff that I don't want to watch. But as long as you are watching anime, we good.
Being a Black nerd in this space, whatever your hobby is, there is a form of gatekeeping from the white side of it. So even for cosplay, a lot of cosplayers are just getting hateful comments. Kendra can tell you because she on Twitter too, and she can see all these people hiding behind anime profile pictures, talking spicy as hell, saying stuff they wouldn't say in person to these Black women just living their lives. Life too short. 2020 too rough. Everything too hard. Like, there's no reason to add all this extra stress. Let people cosplay. Like, let them game. Let them buy their PC parts without knowing the. I don't even know the terminology. I can't even go more. I can't even go more into the PC part. But I did have like a quick little activity. So I wanted to show you guys a couple of images with like a phrase, and I want to know the first thing that comes in your mind. It kind of goes with our gatekeeping conversation, but I want to know the first thing that comes in your mind when we do this. So I prefer dubs over subs in anime. What's the first thing that comes in your mind? No thinking about it.
Casual.
Casual as fuck.
Bro.
Pure.
Pure?
Yes.
Free?
Pure what? Can he elaborate?
I mean, it's just like the purest form of watching anime. Like, you watch a dub, this is usually how you get into it. It's usually how you start. You're gonna start with something familiar. I mean, unless you just read subs. You know what I'm saying? Like, you watch kung fu movies and stuff like that, or foreign films, you probably watch subs, but generally you're gonna start with dubs.
I like that. Bree?
Me, because that's me.
That's right, girl. That's right. Kendra?
Comfortability. That's all I see.
That's right.
And we are toxic. Can I elaborate? Look, dubs is good for multitasking, okay? Like, sometimes you gotta watch dubs sometimes.
But Trish don't even watch the show. She be like, I got it on in the background, and then say she watched the show. That's why you can't take recommendations from her.
Whoa. You're not about to start that lie. Hold on. They mad because I can multitask and do a lot of different things at once, even if it's in subs.
You multitasking with subs.
Listen.
We're gonna move on. How you multitasking with subs?
Old Chem.
This is for real. This is for real.
Oh,
This is the best
no.
anime ever. If somebody said this is the best anime ever, what is the first thing that comes to your mind?
Have you only seen one anime?
Casual. Filthy casual. Filthy casual.
Oh my God.
Again with the knot.
I'm gonna just be like, that's cute for you.
I'm gonna ask them for their top 10. That's me. I'm gonna be like, what's your top 10? What's your top 5? And then if it's also as bad as this, then I'm just gonna like leave it for the people in the community. Like,
you know what? This might be what people like. This type of show. So their top 5 would probably align, you know, with this. Bro, defend your squad.
Let me break this down for the people the Dragon Ball connoisseurs like myself. Dragon Ball is simplistic beauty. That's all it is. It's nothing more, nothing less. If you think it's the best anime ever, which I do, like, you know what I mean? Like, now look, let me break this down because there's anime that are better than Dragon Ball. Don't get me wrong. Like, listen to me now. It's certain levels to it. Like, best is just what makes you feel it the most. What you feel the most. That's what your best is. It doesn't necessarily have to be the best in quality. It doesn't necessarily have to have the best story. Any of that. It's just what resonates with you the most. If Dragon Ball is your best anime ever, then nigga ride for that shit. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm doing. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care if y'all say it's garbage. I don't give a damn.
it's garbage.
All right, well, if that's your top, you gotta call Ro up because he gonna be there for you. He gonna put the cape on. He gonna put the cape on for y'all.
I might put the cape on, like some niggas I ain't riding for.
That's valid. That's super valid. That's super valid. That's important too.
Not everybody needs that, yo. That's right.
Yeah, not everybody deserves a cape, and that's a fact. Everybody got some gatekeeper in them. That's all I'm gonna say. I think there's levels to it. You can be toxic. You can infringe it on other people. I think as long as you're not infringing this on anyone else and being condescending, taking away from their enjoyment of this space, it's not cut and dry. Because Dragon Ball is not the best anime, and that's just a fact. So,
I want to say though.
Subjective. But again, thank you all for coming to the panel, Rise of the Blerd in the nerd community. If you're looking for more content, more about Urban Anime Lounge, go to www.urbanianimelounge.com. And we will see you guys next time.